Hey guys, happy Halloween. Welcome back to the Model Haven. This is John, and today we're going to be taking a look at our Monogram Fiend funny car. This is the final. I didn't quite get everything done that I wanted to do, but the bulk of the work is done, and I did want to get this to you before Halloween, so let's head to the bench and take a look. Alright guys, so here is our very cool Tom Daniel Fiend Dodge Charger funny car. So yeah, I know what you're thinking. Where are all the decals? So yeah, I did run into some issues with the decals. So I did a test. Let's see if I have the original sheet here. So I tested one of these decals, and unfortunately on this original sheet, these decals are really too far gone. So, you know, if you put them in water for 10 seconds and then try to move them at all, they basically just disintegrate into nothing. It's kind of amazing. But before I had tried that, I actually scanned these in because I had a feeling that these might not work. So I scanned them, and I purchased some decal paper. This stuff I got on Amazon. The company's Blangasm. Yeah, I know, what a name. But it's water slide decal paper, and you can print on it. I'm just using a cheap Canon, you know, kind of an entry-level printer, and it prints on it pretty well. The drawback is that so you do have to, after you've printed them, you need to go over them with acrylic spray, and you're supposed to do 3 coats of that. So do 1 coat, let it dry, do another, and I did end up doing that with this this stuff here. I don't know if you guys have used this Americana sealer finisher. This is a gloss coat. But I think the issue I ran into is I either didn't do a thick enough coat of that stuff, or maybe you do need more than 3 coats. Because the problem I had when I started trying to use the decals that I had printed is they, you know, you can get them on the model, but you really can't, unless you get them on perfect and flat the first time. If you try to move them at all, you know, even if you've got enough water to slide around without any friction, just putting your, you know, a toothpick or something on there is enough to take some of the ink off of it. And so I think that I just didn't have a thick enough coat on there, so I'm going to attempt that again. But the other issue you run into is, so you know, the original decals, you know, if we look at the Fiend here, for example, we've got a white background on that, and so when you print these guys out, you lose that white background. So anything that's light or white gets lost. So it doesn't work for some of these other decals. Like the Dodge Charger and our racing class here. It did work for this top decal and the side decal, but then when I put them on, I just wasn't able to get them on perfect from the get-go, and when I tried to move them around, they just got messed up to the point where I didn't like the way they looked. So so basically I just have to do it again, which I am going to do. I'm actually going to redo this one. On this side is okay. The one on the other side, I tried to move a little bit, and you probably can't see it on the camera, but it got a little bit messed up here on the F in Fiend, so I'm going to remove those and probably start over. But actually, I don't mind so much that doesn't have the white background on it. I think it looks actually kind of cool. I don't know that I like it better, but I think it's I think it looks good. So that's not an issue. For the vendor decals and some of these other ones, I'm going to either try to maybe steal some decals from another kit, do a little bit of a kit bashing on that, or try to figure out a way to print some that will actually show up on this paper. But other than that, the body went well. So as I had mentioned in the last video, I didn't paint the body. I just left it the color green, which I like. I did paint the front grille here, so we've got the black, and then I used a chrome pen to do the chrome parts, the grille. So yeah, these Molotow pens, I'm getting a little better at using them, but you know, it is easier when you're just going on the bare plastic here. If I had painted this gloss paint and then tried to use the Molotow pen, it probably would have been a lot harder. But as it was, it actually worked pretty well on the grille and on the there's trim around the windshield and the back window. It actually worked out pretty well on that. So for the body, I did end up spray painting all those parts, and you know, I'm just basically using the Testors gloss metallic silver enamel for the rails here, and then I'm using the Testors chrome for the valve covers and the blower, and then the pipes, which were actually molded in black, I ended up painting white, similar to the way they look on all of the box covers, and I actually think that looks pretty cool. And the tires, so these are actually not vinyl tires, they're plastic. They come off of the black sprue with the other black parts, but they actually look pretty good. They have some good detail on them on the side walls, and then I did end up sanding them so that it gives them more of a real look, and actually I think they look pretty good. So one other thing that I didn't get a chance to do, but I am going to do, is I am going to add the raised white letters on, at least on the back slicks. I've always kind of been a sucker for raised white letters. You know, when I got my first car in high school back in the 80s, first thing I did was go out and put a set of tiger paws on it. So I'll definitely be doing that. And then I've got some, I didn't do anything with the, I don't know if you can see it here. Let me lower this and we can take a look. I didn't do anything with the back, so I think I just painted this stuff all in when I was a kid and I built it, and I may do that, although I might try to actually make some decals for the lights, because you know, it is a funny car, so you don't really want it to look necessarily like real lights. You want it to look like a decal. So a little bit work to do there. On the parachute pack, I'm probably going to paint the straps that hold it in white to kind of set those off and make it more clear what that is. And then so you can see when we close the lid on our funny car, there is a bar that is attached to the frame that holds it up off of the wheels, but it holds it at kind of a high angle, and I think the way that's made, I think the idea was you could just push it down and pop it on there, and it would hold it in place, so you could move it around without lifting the top. But I do remember when I was a kid and I tried to do that, it basically just broke that plastic part. So I just removed those on these models when I was younger, and just basically let the body sit on the front tires, just so we get that kind of nice looking rake on it. And I may end up doing that on here. I haven't decided yet. But that's the deal with that. But yeah, otherwise, you know, I've actually been gluing the parts together, even though this is a snap-together model, just because I remember that these things, you know, if you handle them at all, they tend to kind of fall apart unless you glue them. So I actually ended up gluing them when I was younger too. So I still need to finish that. So there's, you know, there's still quite a few things left to do on this. But you know, since this was a Halloween special, I wanted to get it out by Halloween, and since I do think it is presentable now, I'm just making this the final. But as you guys know, I do have a couple other kits in this series which I will be making in the future, so when we do the intro on the next one, we'll revisit this one, and I'll show you all the things I did to kind of get it to its true final state. So we'll see it again. But overall, I'm pretty happy with it. It's just, I love this series of kits. I just think they're really super cool. So I will be back again soon. We're not going to be doing another one of these next. Next will be another update on the Revell 69 Camaro. And then after that I have another vintage kit that's not part of this series that I wanted to do, which I will be showing you guys soon as well. But yeah, that's it for now, guys. You know, have a happy Halloween, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Peace.